G'day punters, welcome to the preview show for Caulfield, and we'll touch on Eagle Farm, but Jack Dickens, the big races are back, so can't wait to get into the big one, which is the Group 2 PB Lawrence Stakes. Weight for age, some, I wouldn't say good horses, but some decent horses are back, which is outstanding. We'll go through your staking plan as per last week. We'll give a running total across this spring, which should be very exciting. I'm sure you're looking forward to that. And then we'll get stuck into some Q&A at the end. But Dickens, going all right?
Yeah, good start to giving out the $100 race staking plan last week. We also backed Zesty Bell, who didn't run. So, but yeah, giving a bit more of an insight into how we might handle the race from a betting point of view, which, you know, you might hear some narrative out there that it's not that important, staking. And as far as education and punting goes, I'd argue it's the most important aspect to gambling and to winning at it is understanding and getting better and always improving on your staking. So, something we're going to keep doing from now on.
And
Peter,
recap from last week.
And probably the most exciting races this week. We're not going to touch on them yet because they're deep.
Yeah.
But the 2-year-olds returning, it's a exciting card, big time of year in Melbourne. The sun's out.
Good old-fashioned mounting yard race, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, well, we won't be pretending doing enough TV, but not that desperate for your cash. But we will be doing our best to find you a winner or two.
Okay, running total last week you had 50 on Miss Albania at $8, 50 on Calcani Royale at $7.50. Miss Albania won, plus 300. Good start to the kitty. Curls, we'll run through Eagle Farm, a bit of an overview later on, but it doesn't look like a great card to bet into early, does it?
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. Markets found the ones that are obvious, which was similar to what it's been the last couple of weeks, but the obvious ones haven't quite been good enough. So, and the Eagle Farm track sort of played fair last time we were here on a Saturday, which, congratulations, everyone. That's the first time you've heard me say that.
Everyone give yourself a pat on the back.
So it's well-found horses by the early prices, and no real need to do anything too early, and we'll just wait to see a pattern emerge. I think is the best way to approach Saturday.
Okay, let's get stuck into the big one. Caulfield Race 8, Group 2 PB Lawrence over 1,400 metres. The market, best available at Thursday morning. Streets of Avalon, $3.10. Sansom, $5.50. You've got Superstorm, the Wester's best horse, at $6. Best of Days at $6.50. Red Khan Man, the other Wester's best horse, at $8.50. Everything else is double figures. Jack Dickens, what do you think?
I think Streets of Avalon has some advantage being not first up versus some of the bigger horses that are. Same with Samson. There's a lot of speed here, so Samson will hold probably the coffin from one. You'd assume Streets of Avalon will roll across from 8 and probably lead. Do you reckon's a horse that can go forward, sometimes goes back? There is no way to predict where it settles. Archidemus, Red Can Man from 9 and 10 have some speed, and I think Best of Days wouldn't be too far off them. You'd think non-conformists will settle back first up, a stayer. Sierra Sue was very good. It might have been Mildura knocked us off there. It got back there, though, and got home really strongly. That's a horse that, when right, it goes really well, but it's hard to catch at the same time.
Trainers tipping it.
Well, for anyone interested, I'm sure it'll find its way onto social media, but Trainer's given most of the apprentices in Victoria a fair whack this morning when he scratched clinched from sale. Back to this race, Peter. Danny O'Brien takes over Superstorm for Uncle Bob, and D. Oliver sits. How would you anticipate this horse goes, is ridden, etc. first up here? What do you reckon it's aimed at?
I don't know what it's being aimed at, but it's a complete certainty to be sitting last, isn't it? And Caulfield Rail, 8 metres, I mean, there would have to be some level of pattern, you would think, based on what we've seen in the last 6 to 12 months.
Yeah, but if you were if you're a Superstorm man, a couple of things would cool you off. Firstly, the fact that Danny O'Brien his strike rate last 52%, his strike rate last 12 months is 14%, his overall career is 15%. So He's currently struggling. He's surely favourite to level back out though and start to swing up. But something that might get you warm if you like Superstorm here is that there looks to be genuine tempo.
Were like jump outs or anything for this horse?
I haven't watched him.
Superstorm.
I wouldn't bother really. Like if Bob sent it here, it's going good.
It's hard to look through the horses that it's chased and beaten, and then look at it against and not think it's a moral from a non-Victorian punter point of view. It's a proper horse against some like whackers at Group 3 level.
Yeah, so my attitude to the trials would be, like, I'll end up watching them by Saturday, but I would more so just be trusting the camp and waiting to see it in the yard. And this is race 8 on a nine race card, so I'd want to have seen them be able to make some ground. I reckon it's just like you've said, Curls, it's pretty simple. This horse will either sort of gap him or run a big sort of slashing third versus the day. Geez, that was good. And I'll have
Probably a bit harsh. Probably a bit harsh me calling some Group 1 winners Group 3 like plotters, but I didn't realise Streets of Avalon was a Group 1 winner. Lol. Must have been a real leader bias that day. Sorry.
It was. We backed it. Fuck. Yeah. Like I think Superstorm, if they're running on and it's firm, it's horse number 4. So .com might give us the gift of letting us see it walk around without a jockey on it and just with a bit of clear screen, which does allow you to do some level of sort of mounting yard analysis, but mounting yard analysis is no good when you can only do half the field. Yeah, like it's got a peak figure over 600 metres at Caulfield. Best of days is a 2,000 metre horse. Angela True, 2,000 metre horse. Nonconformist is probably a 2,000 metre horse. The Streets of Avalon's a track and trip horse. If there was 1 or 2 scratchings, which are the speed sort of horses, I think its chances dramatically increase. I think currently with the way the map looks and its price, you can sort of look to bet around it.
Okay, so no bet.
Certainly not suggesting anyone have $100 into this race at this point in time.
Okay, so that's the overall message there. That's the Group 2 PB Lawrence. Let's head to race 3 on the card, Dicko, because it's a benchmark 78 over 1,100 metres. Zesty Bell, Ellison Zara, favourite at $5, just in front of Diamonds in the Sky at $5.50. Second slip for Will Clarkin, $6.50. Dirty Thoughts, $7. And then Rolls is $9. Any thoughts here early in race 3?
Do we know what the vaccinated trader, has he got any word out of the second slip camp? Because he's normally just declaring them or knowing. Nothing?
Nothing as of yet. I believe he's just landed in Old Blighty and will be at Lord's today.
Probably had 4 vaccinations by now. We've still had none here on your poopy. He's not even an English. He's not even an American or an Australian, and he's had 4 shots. Unbelievable. Anyway, they scratched second slip a few times, so I'm not sure what to do with it. I assume it goes forward from 8. I think Rolls will be there or thereabouts. I reckon Diamond in the Sky will lead. If it doesn't, it's Coffin from 1. It was good versus the pattern, so it led when Awapuni Princess and TV called it. TV saw it coming and he roared it. Funny how no one's been bagging the great man, isn't it? Must be going all right. So it was on pace in a race where the winner was last in run. So you can give some merit to Diamonds in the Sky. Performance, it looks to get a really nice map here early in the day. So if anything, favouring sort of on pace inside horses. Caulfield, we backed Zesty Bell last week and they scratched. I don't know why. We'll probably listen to RSN and Gareth and ask him to ask Simon or Matthew Ellerton why and if they're still happy here. But this horse, which probably gets Curly a little bit horned up, is going to carry 52 kilos, but it is going to carry Matty Cartwright. So,
mate, I'm horned up about a horse here in particular, but it's not Zesty Bell. It's number 3, high cost. How is it not 3,000 to 1? It's an ex-Queenslander. It's an ex-Queenslander having its first run in Victoria off a nice 4th of 6 at Blackall. which is a non-tab venue. Before that, ran 7th of 10 at Tambo.
Where's that?
Exactly. But did win at Charleville.
Yeah, but it's got A. Kelly on, so you and
So
Scurry will
Scurry
probably
will
have
be on
something
it.
small in it.
Yeah.
Just for your mental health.
I'm just saying that there's not enough zeros on the exchange to price this correctly. I'm fascinated by this horse being there.
Currently best
Is there even
available.
the right word?
300 to 1 best available at the moment.
If anyone watches the show, which I'm not sure, please put in the comments. Please put in the comments what price you will bet me it runs last, please. You might have a salty.
You should have simplified it and just said, predict its SP.
But can't. There's not enough. There's only 140 characters on Twitter.
Or it might settle further forward than midfield, so you never know. Someone might see the purple sort of ping the lids and just...
Sorry to take you focus off the race, but I just saw it in there. I was like, what the...
Okay. Let's get back on track here. A couple of horses one horse that scares me always, and one that I respect. One I respect's Dirty Thoughts.
Oh.
I don't know where it's going to get to from 13. I don't mind D Moore. He's a thinker. I know, Dirty Thoughts. You'd much rather it was written by J. Carr, Pete, but I'm happy with D Moore. And the other horse is Ocular, who's barrier 3 and got Gladder up Melamon. So, he could do anything from that barrier, this horse, and I'm scared of it, and I'd be very petrified if there's a good amount of money for this thing on race day. But the two I want to back, and we're going to have 25 on this first one, is number 8, Diamonds in the Sky, for reasons I spoke about before. I thought there was a lot of merit to the run first up. I think it'll only improve off that, and it could well be a lot more suited here. I think it leads or is in the coffin, so I have 25 on at the 550 maybe, Pete.
Yep.
And then we're going to have $75 on the 13. We're going to follow our money again and again on 13 Zesty Belt from 10. I don't think it's going to get every possible, but I still think it's going to be too good. I would have preferred it at Flemington, but we're getting a fair price to find out. $5 is about, I think, what's fair, and I don't think it gets a lot shorter than that. And we did see last time it ran at Caulfield as a very, very big drifter late. So if you are literally following to the letter what I'm saying, I'd probably half stake now Zesty Bell and keep the rest of your stake till the death, but definitely have it on. So number 8, Diamonds in the Sky, and number 13, Zesty Bell.
How much on Zesty Bell, sorry?
$75.
75. Okay, wonderful. That's Caulfield Race 3. We'll touch on Caulfield Race 9 as well, which is a listed race for the 4-year-olds and up. It just looks like a fascinating race.
Yeah, it was the biggest angle here, the most interesting thing here, and Curls, you probably have, actually, Pete, you probably have the most idea here, is that number 2, the Inferno, is trained by C. Brown, who I think is an ex-Aussie and then ex-Singapore trainer, or Hong Kong trainer, or somewhere trainer.
Singapore,
yeah.
Its jump outs are good. I have watched these things jump outs. Jump outs are scary. They're pretty good. There's a little bit of money for it straight away when they put prices up, which scares me. Don't know a lot about this guy, which I don't like, and the money early, the trial. I reckon the Inferno is going to run a race. This guy looks like to me like he's just getting started again, so big watch what he does. He's booked one of the A-grade riders with D Lane. I think barrier 10, and this is race 9, so I anticipate this thing's midfield or worse. So you can I'd be making my decision on if I can pen it and bet here with the way the track's raced. I think number 7, La Mexicana from barrier 2 with Pete's girl, J. Carr, sitting on it will be very, very hard to beat.
Full stop.
Full stop.
Wonderful. Very good, Dickens. Let's head to Queensland for an Eagle Farm overview with Shane Curlio.
Thanks, Peter. Jack. Eagle Farm Saturday in Queensland. The best place to start when doing the form for Regal Farm is puntingform.com.au and having a look at some track stats. And I'm going to give some of give some of these out today. So rail position from inside fence to outside fence. 209 runners have gone up lane 1 at Eagle Farm, compared to around 1,200 odd between in lanes 5 to 7 and 1,200 odd between lanes 8 and 11. So obviously, traditionally, the pattern has been getting away from the inside. The winning strike rate of horses that go up the inside is 10%. A winning strike rate of horses that are lane 17 and wider is also 10%, where they've had 7 winners from 67 horses that have come down lane 17. So I saw last time we raced at Eagle Farm, I saw horses going back to the inside and running on, where that hasn't always been the case. So last week really graded me up at Eagle Farm. Not that I lost, because that just grades me up regardless, but just how the track played and being able to bet there to a pattern has been successful over the last couple of months. But just last week, it seemed to turn completely on its dial. So the lane data on punting form is, is sort of suggesting to me that, maybe it is sort of faring, evening out a little bit, was what the eye said as well. So what the eye saw, and you're sort of looking at the data and you're seeing, oh, okay, well, maybe there is something in that. Maybe it is playing more fair. Maybe the best horses are just using more of the track and getting into clear air and winning because, they're the best horses and everyone's getting their chance, as opposed to Doomben, which, more sort of favours sort of on speed closer to the rail type runners. So for that reason, I'm just a little bit reluctant to bet early this week, and the horses that I sort of found, the market has found as well. And another thing that I've been finding, I've found a lot, haven't I? Except the fucking winner. The other thing is I'm still seeing this sort of V-shaped price. We were on Acrobatic yesterday. It took 230.
Oh, Christ. Is that thing that won?
Oh, how it fucking won, I don't know.
Yeah, fuck, that's scary.
So it's sort of like come in throughout the day, and 7 minutes before the jump, it's $1.90, $1.95 on their corporates. Within the last 3 minutes, it's SPing 230.
It was hitting
on the
250.
And 270, 280 on the fair. So continue to see this sort of V-shaped thing. I'm not seeing these things go right off and starting odds on. Well, I might have marked them odds on, but not seeing them start. It's another reason why I don't really want to bet early into the Eagle Farm program. Just want to see how the track plays. One race in particular that I can quickly touch on is it's a 1,600 metre race. I think it's an open handicap. The first 2 races got some nice young horses coming through with 2 or 3 chances, and they're all $3. It's very hard to bet. Race 4, so I think Profit, best horse, gets in with 55 kilos with Jay Lloyd. I'm not worried about Jay Lloyd on this type of horse because his last running line pulls widest in the straight, right? Should be pretty straightforward, but you've got a horse like Zigaline who's going to lead. Ricky Palmer on probably stays to the inside and gets away with it nice and steady tempo, and will give a kick like it won last time. So normally I would approach this race to say, righto, well, Ricky Palmer will lead the fence on Zigaline. She'll follow the fence. That'll be inferior ground. I want to be down the middle. Profits at moral. But just the way that track played last week, I don't know whether it's inferior. The rail comes out a couple more metres, which probably makes it even again, because they were still, even though horses were getting back to the inside, they weren't hard fence, but they were lane 1. So, maybe that gives Zigaline a chance to kick and stay in it on the part of the track that should be relatively even, if the track's playing that way. So if we watch the first couple of races and the best horses are on the inside of the track and not finishing off, well, then we'll just launch Profit. It'll be a moral. And that's how I'll play the day, I think. But there's a few examples of those types of races early on. We've got a couple of nice early season 3-year-olds that have been, winning metro races that resume, in the first couple of races. And so what I'm saying is we'll get a clear enough picture, I think, earlier in the day because the smaller field, so the right horses will get to the right spot in run, and then whether it's sort of the results will determine on how I think the track's playing. But yeah, right now it's just going to be a case of wait and see. I think we've had a bit more warmer weather in Queensland too, and I think we saw a little bit of impact on that in the Gold Coast last week, where it was just on speed. Where when it's a little bit damp and a little bit overcast and there's a little tiny bit of juice in the track, you don't want to be anywhere near the inside.
Yeah.
And last week we saw leaders. Conversely, at Toowoomba, we've seen horses, lane 5 and 7 all day. Just coming off the fence and getting down the middle. So, so the weather has played a part definitely in some of, I think, in some how these tracks are playing. So it's like I would rather be patient, crouching tiger, hidden dragon type operator this weekend.
Good.
That's all from Queensland. That's all from Queensland.
Okay, let's get
Anastasia is still the best premier in the country. Robert Heathcote made the news in Queensland this week, once again accusing his colleagues of being cheats and saying that cheating is still rife in Queensland. This is a trainer. Like, I know you Victorian trainers whinge a lot down in Victoria, but this is not whinging. This is just saying cheating's rife in Queensland. We need more pre-race testing. Like, someone put a muzzle on that bloke. Like, if that was Jack Dickens talking about the wagering landscape in Victoria and accusing people of cheating, you'd have a tap on the shoulder from, I don't even know who runs racing in Victoria, and say, Jack, stop with that narrative.
No, even if you bring up an integrity issue, you might
100%.
You might lose or be put in a position where you need to be muzzled, or
Well, you can't be saying that. You can't be accusing your fellow trainers of cheating, and we need more testing. Like, you can't be doing that. Surely that's.
Does he have his own trainer's hut? The way you see it, in Victoria, a few of the boys sort of share a hut. A few of the boys and girls. Has he got his own one? Because they'd fucking want to.
He may be the Wayne Hawks of Queensland.
Oh, settle down.
That's no comment. I was going to say.
Anyway, I've got to go, guys. We're at Mount Isa have a TAB meeting today. If you haven't watched any racing at Mount Isa, tune in to Sky Thoroughbred Central and watch the Mount Isa today.
I've got it set in my alarm. I've got it ready. All right, let's do some Q&A. This is from question mark. Jack has never gone better, ever, and hasn't been on track. Is the yard only a tiny piece, or is he going to stick to what's working? That actually ties in quite well with BJ's question as well. He says, I'd be interested in what proportion of your activity is done betting versus laying. With Dicko in particular from the yard, it would appear easier to identify the horses that just can't win. We'll start with the first part of the question. Is the yard only a tiny piece of the puzzle?
Yes, it is. And you can't. You need every piece of the art, or it's no good to you. It's like doing the form on 7 of 10 horses. You have to have the full picture, and you can't do it off racing.com. You can't do it off Thoroughbred Central. That's my opinion. So I've used COVID as I've had no choice because of how frustrating not getting the stuff I wanted was that I've stopped watching it altogether, and we put our minds as a group, as a collective, to other angles, and we've found gold. I think the reason we're going good though is not. It's a deeper thing than that. Like, we've personally in the business had we were robbed as a group. Me mainly, and via that though we've all unite, we've all come together more. We've had to. We trust each other now. Everyone in the business, we're really, really close mates, and that mateship and help throughout the whole process of a week is incredibly helpful. So if I'm having a bad run, people will get around me. If Curly or Pete is, the support and the sharing of ideas, there's 6 or 7 brains trying to improve one basic method of pricing racehorses. So and unique brains. So it's clearly working, but I still really believe that the yard can be a beautiful finish to that, and it's just going to be about rating that properly, and I don't want to lean on it till I know I can have it full time. Like, until Poopy Pants vaccinates 70 to 80% of this population, I think we're going to be in and out of lockdowns, particularly in Victoria, because Dan loves them. Like, he just shits the bed, and we're locked down every time there's 2 cases. So for the time being, we won't rely on the yard. But the biggest probably factor for sure, or one of the biggest, is Jackson. He is fucking brilliant, hardworking, humble. I've given opportunity to like other younger people who have just tried to run with it. He just wants to be part of our team. He's part of our team, and the assistance he gives me is fucking enormous. And was working in like a small team within the team. It's just all about a team. What do you guys think?
Okay.
You're part of it.
I was going to say to answer the question, I think the yard is still very important, but it takes a bit of time to get some level of consistency. So just coming back to Perth, say 5 weeks ago, it's taken me about 3 to 4 weeks to actually start to get a baseline of what Perth horses look like again. Not to say they look bad, but they look very different to the horses that you get coming through spring in Victoria, where you see a noticeable change between, say, 2 runs. It's far more subtle in WA, and you have to really be, get that calibration going again. So I think you need that sort of back end, you need that database, you need that profile on every horse, and then you can adjust, and then the yard becomes absolutely crucial. So I feel like I've got the eye in just over the last probably week and a half or so. In terms of proportion of activity done betting versus laying, I certainly lay horses that I feel the market hasn't identified, but quite often you find those poor paraders, the market has already factored it in. They already know to a certain extent. I don't know if you guys find the same, but that's certainly what I noticed. But on the occasion where it doesn't feel like the market's noticed it, then yeah, certainly laying is far more enjoyable proposition for me as a punter.
I'm not laying nearly as much as I was at the moment, but I anticipate that will change once we get back on course, and it's even also in run. Like a lot of laying I think can be done off maps, so that's a factor. But like what you said, just like I couldn't agree more. I should have said that. So you're building profiles on horses. Like Zesty Bell missed a run last week, so I just love to see it parade, and I would have seen it parade the previous time at Caulfield, and you can see if it's tightened up and its coat's improved and it's still walking as it walked last start. Building the profile on all runners, but especially the key runners that you're interested in backing or laying, or the horses at the point end of markets, is a big thing, and that probably takes what, like a month at least, Pete.
Yeah, I'd say at least a month.
I think so. For me, someone who sits at home more often than goes to the track, it's definitely a factor, because you will see when the mounting yard when people were allowed to be free citizens and go to the track, you will see Betfair fluctuations when the horses are in the yard.
Yeah.
Like, you will see horses get gapped, and then you will see horses like tumbling in that yard. That's before trick time, before the big dogs get hold of get hold of the SP in the last 90 seconds. But you do see fluctuations when the horses are in the yard. Watch Thoroughbred Central, so the horses parade. But like, I'll listen to a judge if I respect them, not many, if any, on just opinions on certain horses, right? So I like this horse. I saw it trial. I liked its trial. Blah blah blah. Like, is it ready? I know this horse. It gets hot in the yard. Blah blah blah. What's it doing today? They're factors. Even if I'm not in the yard, it's still a factor. It's still. I've done all the pricing. I've done the math. I've done everything. It's still a piece of the puzzle.
The biggest joint in the world has like yard people everywhere in Australia, probably everywhere else.
Yeah. See you, man.
So there's the answer.
So what do we think at the moment when they're not allowed on course? I mean, they're probably just removing that one factor out of their pricing and out of their algorithms, I would imagine.
Or there'll be some stable hands getting double time.
Maybe.
In Queensland, they're not.
Yeah.
In Queensland, they're still there. Even when we had restrictions, they're still there.
Yeah. peeking through the gaps in the fence.
I don't know.
Maybe a little bit more present than even that. So yeah, certainly
I think.
Yeah.
Just to the question, like the reason we've moved off it is because you can't control it, and then when you can't control it, it can, like, this game's like all in your head, isn't it? So if you're getting the shits with something you can't influence, then get rid of it. That's what we've sort of done for now.
Yep, that's a good point. You can't rely on it, and certainly you don't want to try and compete with it if it's an unlevel playing field. You know, if there's people allowed on course, obviously that creates a huge difference of opinion when you try and rely on a certain factor. So I think overall it's a deep question, but it's a really, really good one. All right, guys. Thanks very much for your participation today on the preview show. I will enjoy your company on the deep dive on Monday.
Thank you, Peter.